Hi, welcome to Desk Setup Tour 2025 Part 2. In this video, we are going to go through some other tech accessories that I use in my productivity workflow, then what are the lightings that I use to create an ambient environment, and then finally some of the audio setups, and then we conclude this video with the storage I have on my setup to make sure I have everything in a good place and well organized. Let's start with tech accessories, and number one on that list is the keyboard. I have tried so many different keyboards, from the mechanical ones to the ones that can connect to multiple operating systems, and finally the Apple Magic Keyboard. For me, the best experience I had was with Apple Magic Keyboard, and that's probably because of my other experiences with other devices. See, I have a MacBook Air, then I also have the iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard, so I have same typing experience on my MacBook and on my iPad, and I wanted to continue that on my desktop. Therefore, having a different keyboard to my MacBook and Apple Magic Keyboard wouldn't make too much sense, and it would have reduced my overall productivity. So I wanted to have a consistent typing experience so that I can improve on my speed and accuracy of typing. Therefore, Apple Magic Keyboard was a no-brainer for me. But that wasn't the only reason why I decided to go with Apple Magic Keyboard. It's also the Touch ID. I'm quite used to that Touch ID functionality on my MacBook Air and also the Face ID on my iPad. And I have almost forgotten to enter passwords when it comes to online logins or app logins or entering passwords when I do my banking. So having a Touch ID was so essential in my setup, but I always struggled that on my desktop. So when I use mechanical keyboards or a third party or different branded keyboards such as from Dell, that didn't have the Touch ID, I always struggled with my workflow because I had to remember passwords or I had to go to one password app to dig out the password for my logging. It was always a struggle. But once I moved to the Apple Magic Keyboard, it felt a lot more seamless experience. And that's probably one of the reasons why I probably will never switch from Apple Magic Keyboard to any other keyboard unless there was another brand who can integrate Touch ID. But until then, Apple Magic Keyboard will be my favorite. The second tech accessory, which is absolutely crucial for any setup, is the mouse and the trackpad. You probably have seen this Logitech MX Master 3S on pretty much every other desk setup, and rightly so. It is definitely one of the most productive tech accessories you can have on your setup. You can customize it depending on the app you're using, you can customize it depending on the browser you're using. There's so many functionalities, and I don't think I've explored all of them, but again, this is a great productivity mouse for anyone who wants to improve their efficiency. As you can see, I've also added an Apple Magic Trackpad, and there's a reason for that. I think both of these two devices complement each other really, really well. Whilst Logitech MX Master 3S is really good in productivity, in functionality, in customization, personalizing it depending on the app and the program you're using, I do find at times with Apple Mac software that it is not always very intuitive. For example, when it comes to scrolling between pages or moving between different windows, the experience is not as smooth. With Magic Trackpad, I found that scrolling between pages or going between different screens and monitors and switching between apps, the gesture control is a lot more smooth, and that's probably because it's integrated within the Apple ecosystem and it's a similar experience like you will have on a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. So I do recommend adding a Magic Trackpad if you are in Apple ecosystem, because you will take example of all the Mac OS functionalities using the trackpad. So as I said before, they both complement each other really, really well, and I do recommend adding both. But if you can only have one, then I would go for the Apple Magic Trackpad if you are using the Mac OS. But if you are using Mac or Windows or a combination of both, then Logitech MX Master 3S is probably a better choice because it is able to work across different operating systems and also multiple devices. But personally speaking, in my experience, I found a use case for both, and therefore, as I said before, they do complement each other really, really well, so now I have both on my setup. Now let's move on to lighting. A lot of you have been asking me, how do I create this ambient environment in my setup? So here it is. I have few set of lights that I use in my setup, and they're all controlled with a voice command like Alexa or Google Assist. It was really important for me to have that voice command feature because I don't really like to go in my office and then have to turn different lights on or use different apps. I just wanted one seamless experience. I speak to my smart speaker and just turn on the lights instantly. So I'm going to go through the three lights that I've used in my setup to create this ambient environment. Number one on the left hand side is a smart bulb from Calix. It sits on an IKEA light bulb stand, which is minimalistic and goes well with my overall setup. Next light that I have on my setup are the two monitor bars from Goey. These are really good. They have good color temperatures and good controls via the app or Alexa or Google Assist. The third light that I use in my setup is a simple light tube. There's nothing fancy about it. It just sits on my setup, and that's all what I have in terms of ambient lighting. I do have an extra light on my monitor which I use mostly for working late hours. This is not the one that creates an ambient environment, but it is more for working late hours. I sometimes do late night editing and I don't like to have the room light on, and this light is perfect just to focus on the things I need on my desk. Let's move on to the audio setup. For audio setup, I have multiple options depending on the work and the time of the day. The Bose headphones that I have on my setup are purely used for focus work. The noise cancellation functionalities on these headphones is excellent. So if I'm doing late night work, these are the headphones I would use. The second item in this category is the Apple AirPod. I use this when I'm making phone calls or just casually listening to some audio on Spotify. Again, I don't really find them really useful on my setup, but I do use them when out and about. The third audio item on my setup are the two speakers. Again, I don't use them all the time. It depends on the work I'm doing. But if I'm watching YouTube videos or I'm playing games, I turn these on. I have tried many desk speakers in the past, including Sonos, or the Bluetooth speakers from Edifier, but I found these are the perfect ones for me because they offer both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth functionality. It's kind of having best of both worlds. The final item on my desk setup in the audio category is a mic that I use from Shure. This is the mic that I'm using for recording this video, for example. I mean, the quality from this mic is really, really good. You don't have to spend a lot of time post-editing, trying to tweak your audio to the best quality possible, because it does its job right from the get-go. You've probably seen this mic on many other setups, and rightly so, because this is such a great microphone. So yeah, if you're looking for a microphone for your setup, these are the ones to get. That takes us to the final part of this tour. That is the storage. And this is one of the most critical parts of your setup, because if you get this right, your setup will always look aesthetic and you will keep everything tidy and organized. The ones I went for are these IKEA drawers. You've probably seen these on many other desk setups, and again, rightly so, because they are so good. They have multiple drawers and you can organize each drawer by buying few other accessories, which I can go through in another video. But the point here is you need a good set of drawers where you can house your wires, your power banks, your camera accessories, your tech accessories, anything, right? So you need a space where you can just close it off and keep it out of the sight, but also keep it really accessible when you need it. In addition to these drawers, I do have a couple of shelves on the other side of the wall. I use these two shelves for random tech accessories and some of my favorite books. And with that, we have concluded the Desk Setup Tour 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you like and subscribe. Again, thank you very much for staying all the way till the end. It means a lot to me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.